don't you make a reservation with me every morning, Monday through Friday, 9:30 until, that's right. Why don't you make a reservation every day? Why don't you set your clock? Why don't you just say, good morning, Ann, right there in the comment section. That's right. Let me know that I know that you are out there. I'm going to put it right out here right now. Good morning. See who says good morning back to me here this morning on WCRS. Well, okay, I guess I didn't do it. Let me do it right now. Good morning. See who says good morning back to me this morning right here on WCRS Radio. I think I'm on. Is somebody telling me I'm not on? Am I on? Am I on the radio today? Oh. Yes, we got text messages coming in. If you're on Facebook, say good morning, Ann. Anyways, if you are out there in the world, say good morning. 864-332-9355. Oh, that's right. As my texter just says, and don't forget you're here on Saturday, Ann. Oh, yeah. In the words of a 5-year-old who was going to school, started kindergarten, sub-primary, whatever, was in primary school. I asked him, how was your first year of school? And he goes, school is fine, but do you have to go every day? Anyways, I am Ann Eller. I had a great time last night at the Inn on the Square. Saw a lot of people there. Wish you, if you were not there, wish you had come because E.G. Kite was absolutely fantastic. And a lot of people said the bubbin was just fine. That's fine. And so it was a great evening right there at the Inn on the Square. So everything was great. The appetizers were delish. Plenty of places to sit and enjoy. Did get a little chilly out there. I mean, just saying, did get a little chilly out there, but other than that, it was great. It's a little chilly this morning. Yeah, I was just gonna throw a little jacket on and go running out there this morning. Woo! I decided, well, let me see what the weather is out there. Well, when I was going out the door, it was 34 degrees. It is now 39 degrees, and we are headed for a high today of 66 degrees, low of 42. Supposed to be plentiful sunshine today. Saturday's coming in with plentiful sunshine on Saturday, high of 78, low of 49. Sunday comes in, another beautiful day, high of 73, low of 63. Monday, high of 65, low of 30. This is ridiculous. But that is why you do not plant early. That's even though a lot of people are thinking it would be good. No. So, anyways, Tuesday's a high of 47, low of 27. Wednesday, high of 52, low of 35. I'm just cueing you in next week, the first part of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, anyways, it's going to be rather chilly out there. So, what is going on in the world? I have no friggin' idea. I do have a few ideas. That's right, I do. but, excuse me. But, the event last night was just great. And we've got so many things to talk about. Let's see. Oh, this is one that's just crazy. Did you see this one? Did you hear about this one? Somebody has put on the National Mall, a statue appeared that had it had the Titanic pose with Rose and Jack, and it was made with Trump and Epstein. I mean, what's the deal with people? What is the deal with people? I just saw a quick picture last night. I thought, OMG, here we go again. Can we just move on and really get to the issues that are facing our country? One of the things that I wanted to talk about this morning that I'm not sure that I understand is that the Trump administration is removing the sanctions. Let me see if I can pull that article up. On Russia to be able to sell oil on the open market. Now, to help bring the price of oil down. But this is only supposed to be, to the middle of the 11th, the 12th, something of April. Now, let me ask you something. If you have extreme pressure on a country, like they're not supposed to be able to sell their oil, you've made a big deal over their oil isn't that good, blah, 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 then why would you allow them to help the nation, right? To help the world by letting them sell oil on the international market, so that it would help bring the price of oil down, but it would also help them with their trying to get enough money to keep the war going. I do not understand this. I will be quite frank. I wanted to pull that up. I read that last night, and I'm just like, what the heck? Why would we do this? I feel that that's, I don't know. I kind of feel that that's a what the F? I do not understand. Why would you just release the sanctions that you've had against them, made sure that Russia wasn't able to sell to other countries, and now you're just saying, okay, well, we need your help, so sure, we're going to let you do this. Does anybody understand that? 864-332-9355. 864-332-9355. I think that is just crazy. I just think that's crazy. So I think it creates, for the world, not understanding what is going on. So I thought I would bring that quick point up. I do not understand taking the sanctions off Russia, allowing them to sell oil on the international market to help try to bring the price of oil down. I don't know even what the price of oil is today. I don't know. Yesterday they did some trying to release some oil from our strategic reserves. Last night late, I don't think it had made a difference, but that will remain to be seen. All right, in other news, that's just one thing I guess we could say on the international news. You know, one of the things I love about going to events is seeing people who tell me they listen, and they're quiet people. They're not out there saying that much, but they're quiet people. And they tell me, and I always go, well, what do you think? I wouldn't miss a show. I love the show. And that makes me feel so good. So FYI, just so you know, it does make me feel so good when y'all tell me that you are out there listening, whether you participate in the process or not. I appreciate the fact that you come up to me and tell me that you listen and you enjoy my craziness on the radio, my opinions that are sometimes woo. But anyways, all right. So I just wanted to say that and say a big thank you to everybody who listens on WCRS, whether you actually listen to me or you listen to a lot of people comment about all the selections that we have for talk show hosts on the air. Some people love listening to Dave Ramsey. Why do they like listening to Dave Ramsey? Because as one person said last night, I thought credit card debt was $300. And when you hear somebody that has poor people, $10,000 here, this money here, then they've refinanced and they've done all this stuff and they're just in a mess. Sometimes it's good to hear somebody else's misery, isn't it? Because you go, whoa, well, I guess I'm not so bad. I kind of agree with that. And Dave Ramsey, though, he does have some really good advice on how to get out of debt. So he's on from 3 to 6 unless I come in and take an hour of the time. All right, now I've got some other stories here. This show is probably going to be a little disjointed. Yes, I'm here. Okay, so this, though, story is one that I really thought was amazing and may have to do with the state of religion. Yes. A pastor demands his congregation bring their tax returns so he can review them to stop people from playing in his face during tithing. The viral church service clip shows the pastor telling members that he will review their tax documents to ensure proper tithing amounts. Can you believe this? He demands that his congregation bring copies of their tax returns for his review. The pastor can be seen standing at the pulpit telling church members that he's going to put a stop to people playing in my face during tithes and offerings. The video has sparked massive backlash online, with users calling the practice cult-like, explosive, and a clear example of churches operating as a business rather than a place of worship. Well, what do you think of that? The pastor says, I'm going to put a stop to some of y'all playing in my face during tithes and offerings. Isn't that interesting? Oh my God, isn't that interesting? What do you think about that? 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. You know, although I never saw him, Reverend Ike was a pastor who was rather, I guess we should say, a little outlandish, put on a great show. And Jeff used to tell me about going to this church in New York when he was in New York. And he said he used to love to go to the services. And it was basically, as you can guess, it was a black church, Reverend Ike. And he used to tell the people he wanted to see all the keys to the new Cadillac. Go ahead and put them in the offering, plate going around. And Jeff used to say, and he always used to say, and I don't want to see any of those used Cadillac ones. I just want to see the brand new ones because I want to know who's doing well out there. Well, I guess he was being a little more subtle than this guy asking the people to bring their tax returns in. How would you feel if your pastor said to you, I need to see your tax return? Unbelievable. I think it's unbelievable. And I think in some ways that shows what some churches have turned into, and why maybe in some cases religion has a bad taste in people's mouths, because this type of thing is like totally unacceptable. But let's see. We're already getting bing, bing, bing comments on that this morning. So let's see what we got for comments here. Whoa, hold on. What do we got? I think that is a great story. Oh my goodness. Let's see. What does it say? Oh, okay. Good morning. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I guess some of this stuff, we really can't say. We really can't say on the air. But anyways, this one's not bad. I quit going to a church that demanded that we pay the 15% because they just couldn't handle it. Well, I understand that. That is pretty harsh. So anyways, what do you think about that? I think that has ultimate possibilities of creating a problem. What? Yeah, I thought you were only making this much. You're making this much. We definitely need more donations from you. I'm not going to get into it today, but I think that is a perfect example of why so many people are turning away from the church. And I think that while it is certainly great if one can do that, but how do we count all the other works that we do to help in situations? How many people help somebody on the side, and maybe it doesn't go into the church coffers, but they're helping somebody on the side? Is that not whether that is tithing directly to the church, or are you doing things that help somebody that is taking money out of your pocket to help somebody else? How many times do we all help people and all the causes and everything that people do help with? So I think that sometimes it's not exactly about how much money you make, but how much money that you actually do for others in this whole situation. That's just my personal opinion. I just thought I just thought it was kind of interesting. All right, so that was just a little story that caught my attention last night. And I have more. Somebody commented on yesterday on Nancy Mace going to get one family from South Carolina. Now, I have gotten all kinds of comments on that story, and she actually ended up, I don't really understand the story, some man that goes over and picks up people from an individual. We had this before in Afghanistan. Remember when there were all these people that were over there? Our government wasn't helping get them out, the Biden administration, and all these individuals went over there and flew in and got people out. Sounds like some of the same type of thing is happening with Iran, all that whole area over there where people have been stranded. Well, Nancy Mace, I don't know how she went over there, but she went over there to help bring this one family home, and then she ended up staying and helped out with this removing 155 people and getting them back here to the States. So, I've heard some people say, how come she just did one family, all this kind of thing. But, you know what I have to say? She did something. Now, I don't always agree with Nancy Mace. I surely do not. But I will say this. At least she did something. And for that, she is to be commended. I really think I have a problem with the fact that we have left people over there yet after they got going. They started, they did start making ways for people to contact the State Department. I'm not sure how successful that has been, but they have done some of that kind of stuff. But the very fact that she went over there, got one family back, and then stayed and helped and get 155 families back is, I think, pretty impressive. Don't you really? I think that this is something to be commended. Now, I did just see she is having a virtual, she's learning. She's having a virtual press conference this morning. And the press people have to call a number to get into the Zoom meeting. She's not taking any chances anymore, folks. She is going to have the control of the room. Now, she never, and maybe they're trying to control her. I'm not really sure. But I just thought that's rather interesting. Congressman Nancy Mace, for immediate release, is holding a virtual press conference this morning. She will hold a virtual press conference on her rescue mission in the Middle East, bringing a stranded South Carolina family home from the Iran conflict and helping evacuate 155 more Americans to safety. And it's today, Friday the 13th, be careful, at 10 a.m. And it's a virtual via Zoom. Media should RSVP to get in and get the link to be able to be part of that. So I think that is an interesting way to have a press conference because we don't need to worry about COVID anymore, do we? But that is what she is doing. Do you think it was a good idea? Do you think that maybe she's getting serious? Do you know, I was looking at the polls for governor. Nancy Mace is right there near the top. Are you a little bit shocked by this, or no, not at all? I think that this is slightly unbelievable, isn't it? But she is, what was I looking at? There are several polls, different polls out there. Okay, must be further back. There are several polls out there, and she is either, okay, that was January, where do we got? February, latest poll, March 10th to the 11th, on our candidates. Quantus Insights. They sampled 806 likely GOP primary voters. So this is not a huge slice of people. But Alan Wilson was at 22%. Nancy Mace is at 22%. Pamela Evitt at 16%. Ralph Norman at 11%. Josh Kimbrell at 3%, and undecided 26%. It says if you remove, I love this, the leaners, those leaning in one direction or another, the undecided jumps to almost 39%. That is a huge number of voters that are undecided. But I think everybody that I talk to, that always brings up, and what do you think about Nancy Mace? She's not really in the race. Well, I think she's really in the race, folks, if she's at 22%, challenging with Alan Wilson. I mean, they're at 22%, and this is only a survey of 806 GOP primary voters. So this is not like a 2,000 or 3,000 swath of the folks. You know, we should set up a survey right here on WCRS. That would be pretty interesting. Anyways, yes, but that is where the state of the race right now is. I guess we could say the state of the race is wide open, folks, just wide open. That is true, wide open. But I didn't think, number one, I'm surprised to see that according to this survey, and then there's another survey that shows this and another survey that shows that. So, but I was surprised that Pamela Evitt was actually in third place and that Nancy Mace was right up there keeping her name on people's mind. And that's where you have to really worry. Are people doing it based on platform or just on recognition? Now, the other thing they say, these are GOP. These are Republican voters. So when we're talking about things that are coming up, one of the things that I think we keep talking about closing the primaries in South Carolina. I know that Republicans would like their primaries closed so that nobody else could vote in them, i.e. Democrats, maybe independents, but independents are supposed to be independents for a reason. But again, I would really like to talk to somebody. Who can point to a race where our primaries have caused somebody to win the primary who should not have won the primary according to Republicans. That's the best way to say it. I honestly don't know. They always talk about that Democrats will cross over and vote for Republicans in a Republican primary. So, the other thing is, in this case, unless the Democrats make a very big push to do this, they have two candidates of their own to be voting for. So that would likely indicate, wouldn't it, that they would vote for their own candidates in their own field? Oh, no, and they know they can't win, so they're going to vote in the Republicans so they can try to get a more likely friendly Republican on their side. I said, oh, okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that I was understanding that correctly. So, yes. Nancy Mace brings those 155 home. That is I think that's pretty amazing story. Even if it is done for optics and everything else, I commend her for getting out there and doing something. So, Lindsey Graham hasn't gone over there and gotten somebody. Oh, well, he's not running for governor. You know, that is one of the amazing things on Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, right? He does a lot of talking. He does a lot of moving back and forth. But what does he do to help the people? That's why I am impressed with Nancy, because she did go over there, and even if she'd brought back one family, and some people are saying, well, why'd she only bring back one family? Well, in the end, she got involved with bringing 155 back. She says, the family I traveled there for is safely home, but then I learned of more families, hundreds of families, thousands still stranded, whom Gray Bull and many other nonprofits are helping. Then I heard about Gray Bull Rescue and the Americans that they were evacuating. This was Gray Bull's 808th mission. They got out 155 Americans today, women, infants, and children. They had people but didn't have the plane. I jumped in to assist. Seeing this conflict firsthand reminds you of what is at stake when the world becomes dangerous and leadership becomes a question of character, not convenience. Today I'm grateful, but I will never forget what I saw, what I learned, and the Americans who volunteered and who are serving our nation patriotically. How about that? I just think it's pretty awesome. And yes, she is grabbing a moment to elevate herself. But the bottom line is she did get in there and help. It says, with the help of Congresswoman Nancy Mace and close coordination with the U.S. State Department, just last night we evacuated 155 Americans out of an active war zone. Congressman Mace was fully embedded with our team, not to watch, but to work to save lives. So that was from Gray Bull Rescue Team. So thank you as well to our colleagues at the State Department, specifically the U.S. Embassy Amman and the U.S. Embassy Jerusalem. We watched the consular staffs of both embassies work tirelessly to assist Americans to the best of their ability within the confines of policy limitations. While policies may be problematic, the consulate officers work day and night for Americans. So getting people out of harm's way is one of the core functions, I think, of government, which is why it's hard for me to understand why the Homeland Security and TSA, those that are certainly working to protect us, have their hands tied with still not having the money, and these people are working without getting paid. So I think that is a travesty. That truly is a travesty. All right, so moving on here this morning, I just thought that was a good story. I thought that was a good story. So, what else here? I had some other good stories here. I went to bed last night. I did not stay up and look at more stories. Oh, I was tired. I was tired. Homeland Security funding bill fails in the Senate. Yep, we know that. That was continuing. Clyburn is going to run. Representative Clyburn is going to run for office again from South Carolina down there in Orangeburg. Made that announcement yesterday. Well, it's good to know that we have our group of those that really should maybe think about retiring. You know what the problem is when you've been there for so long, you wouldn't know what to do, so you just keep doing it, right? And I guess hope springs eternal. I mean, they just had Biden here, what was it, in February? Hoping for a miracle. And then, of course, you've got Biden's wife, Dr. Jill Biden. She's writing a memoir about the truth about things. Yeah, what is the truth? That she was actually running the country. So if you have a problem, don't have a problem with my husband. I was making those decisions. You know, they were talking the other day, I think it was on Armstrong and Getty, about how that's probably what she might be saying, that there were, of course, all these pictures of her that came out with her working at a desk on Air Force One and this type of thing. And there was a lot of speculation. Remember the time she was at a meeting. Joe was supposed to be running, and she was sitting at the head of the table running the meeting. So maybe that's what she's going to say. You got a problem with things? Give it to me. Of course, then somebody had to make a joke. Was it AutoPen that was actually writing her book, which is conceivable. The question is a book like that good to put out in an election year? I think that is one of the questions that, don't you think that is one of the questions that you would have a question about? I think so. Yeah. Yeah, here's that article. Trump removes sanctions on Russia to help oil flow amid Iran conflict. I do not get that one at all. And then Cuba, realizing that they could be next, has decided Thursday it's planning to release 51 prisoners in the coming days in the spirit of goodwill and close, fluid relations with the Vatican, which has been trying to broker talks between Cuba and the United States amid the increasing tense standoff between the two nations. Okay, now the Vatican is becoming involved in working between the United States and Cuba. Does anybody see any problems here? The Vatican. All right, somebody's got to be talking about this out there. Okay, all right, anyways, let's see. Somebody's got to be talking about... Yeah, okay. Let's see. Well, here's one of my texters saying something. Yeah, they don't have any money for the for Homeland Security, but they have been spending a lot of money on food at the Department of Defense. Yeah. Yeah, well, and here's another comment. Here's a good one. This gal out there, she is just a pistol. I just got to say that. Well, maybe since they want to put church in school, maybe we should put the IRS in church. Well, maybe so. Who knows? That is a good one. So, anyways. It was, yes. Okay. All right. But yes, this is now Cuba and the United States and the Vatican is trying to negotiate between the two nations. What can the Vatican do to negotiate or move things forward? The move appears to be an effort releasing these 51 prisoners to appease the Trump administration, which has established what is effectively an oil blockade around the island, causing severe fuel shortages and electricity outages and pushing the nation toward a humanitarian crisis. President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have made clear they would like to see major changes in Cuba soon, including a new government. Rubio has spoken about a potential deal with Castro, the grandson of Raúl Castro, the 94-year-old former Cuban leader who is Fidel Castro's brother and is still widely viewed as the country's most powerful figure. That was actually reported by the New York Times last month. They have signs that the Cuban government is seeking a way out of the crisis, including by recently approving some private companies to import oil. But the U.S. officials have signaled that any deal would require far more significant reforms. So, that's Cuba did not name the 51 prisoners or disclose their accused crimes, only noting they were nearing the end of their sentences. Okay. Anyways, there's another story out there of things to watch. You know, when we talk about this whole political realm of things, because we are not on the inside, it is very difficult for you and I and anybody else to understand all the moving parts of the pieces. I do think, from my perspective, it is always fun to kind of poke holes at some of the things that are being said. Unfortunately, we don't have all the information, and that is part of the problem. If we had all the information, we would be able to say that we understood how these things were coming together, but we don't. But one thing is for sure, our country and the world is on very tender hooks. Iran certainly is not going to give up the fight, and they are going to continue. The Strait of Hormuz may or may not be open. They certainly have pulled back on it. I don't actually understand, if having the Strait of Hormuz open, why America, the United States, Israel are being held back from doing what is necessary to keep it open. And it's very easy for each and every one of us to sit here as an armchair quarterback and try to say, well, we know better. Well, we don't, because we're not sitting on the inside and we don't have all the information. However, when we're talking about good radio and talking about putting our opinions out there, it is kind of fun, isn't it, to be able to say, oh, yeah, well, if I was in charge, I'd do this, or that doesn't make any sense. And somebody's here and pennies at the door. Yes, and that's the way it is. I want to give you just a few things that are going on for tomorrow, and then I'm probably going to give it up because it's just kind of hard today. It really is to put all this together. But I do want you to know, that this is the greatest honor of my life, to be able to be on the air with you, discussing and kibitzing about all the things out there that we wish we would see different. And, you know, just bringing these things to light, I think is pretty important. Because if we didn't bring it to light, would we know more people be educated or at least have an idea of what's happening. We may not know everything that's happening, but at least we would know. We wouldn't know the things that we know. So let's talk about the things that I know that are absolute. Number one, next Thursday is Free Cone Day at Dairy Queen. And that's important, folks. That is very, very important. So if you better put that on your calendar all day long. You don't have to order in the app. You don't have to do anything. You just have to drive through, go in, and get a free cone from Dairy Queen. That would be a really good thing to put on your calendar, and I'm going to remind you so you don't forget about it. Other things that are going on. Other things that are going on. What do we have? Oh, Lord. The Ales and Trails run is tomorrow morning. And that starts at a relatively good hour. It's the 5K beer tasting race, walk, run. It starts, I love this. Registration starts at 10 a.m. Run starts at 11 a.m. Beer tasting continues all day. No, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But that is going on, and that is through the Chamber of Commerce. Beer tasting celebrations following the run. There will be no drinking during the run. I just want to make that clear. Live local music and light snacks for participants. Beer tasting participants receive a commemorative glass. Saturday, March 14th, 906 South Main Street in Greenwood. Registration at 10. Run starts at 11. And so it's really going to be a lot of fun. 906 South Main Street. All right, what else is going on? What else is going on, Ann? Oh, there's some more stuff going on. The lake cleanup. Oh, my God, the lake cleanup. The lake tomorrow at 8, 9 o'clock, 9 to 11. The lake cleanup is going on. They have 6 places where you can sign in and get all your supplies and whatnot to be able to do this. Certainly hope you're going to get out there and do the really big lake cleanup. That is so, so important. The lake is one of our biggest assets, and this annual lake cleanup certainly keeps it, at least keeping it clean. You know, the biggest thing, though, we need to do is change our focus on litter, meaning we don't throw litter. If you've got a load of litter, tarp it so that none of it falls off. That's where a lot of this comes from. Falls off a pickup truck or a trailer or something. Tarp your load. All right. Capri's is turning 50. Every Monday in March, they're doing $19.76 meals for lasagna, chicken parmesan, baked spaghetti. Each dinner is served with an antipasta salad and beverage. So that's hearkening back to 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So that's some of the things that are going on out there. Also wanted to tell you about... They have an exhibit at the Art Center, children's art, the regular, every year they have the annual art show. I think, middle school and high school has it at the Art Center, and at the museum is the elementary school. That's really cool that they're doing that, and they do it every year, so it's a tradition. Check out some of that. Go be amazed at what our children are doing. Also, coming up this Saturday, the Greenville Parade in the morning, festival all day, and it is a lucky to be a local St. Patrick's Day celebration. Now, if you want to go see a parade, go to a parade and be part of all the festivities they're having all day long for St. Patty's Day, which is coming up on Tuesday, you know. Go up there to Greenville and check that out. It is going to be quite a celebration. The parade is from 10 to 11, starts at the Floor Daniel and marches its way to Noma Square. festival all day long, 11 to 8. They're going to have live bands, local vendors, food, drinks, kids' activities. And the best part, they say it's completely free. Of course, I'm sure you have to buy the food and the drinks, etc. So this tradition, I didn't realize this, has been part of Greenville for more than 100 years. It started back in 1918. So if you want to be part of a St. Patty's Day parade, get out there and go to Greenville and check that out. They'll have a pickleball. Well, they got beer. They got all kinds of good stuff. Anyways, that's pretty cool. So, when is that? Well, let's see. All right, the Lawrence Speedway is opening on March 21st. Yeah, see, you guys didn't know this about me. I'm really would like to be. I think I need to do that. I think I need to get a car and just start competing. I think, and I need to have everybody sign up to support it and everything. What do you think? And I'll be the driver. Okay, we could do that. All right, maybe we'll do that. All right, that's a few of the things that are going on. But the big thing, the lake cleanup, the lake cleanup, the lake cleanup. Take your family, take your kids, go out there, and it's going to be a beautiful day to do this. So why not get out there and check out and be part of it. You know, they also this year have added Buzzard's Roost, which is a new part that has been added that they'll be cleaning up. So that's pretty cool. They have another cleanup going on today, the roadside cleanup today at the Greenwood Railroad Historic Center. That is at 2 p.m. today. Wow. This is sponsored by the event by the Emerald City Rotary. Let's keep our community clean and beautiful. Join the Emerald City Rotary Club for a fun and rewarding afternoon of roadside cleaning. Bring friends and family. Please wear comfortable clothes and bring gloves if you have them. We'll provide everything that you need. Meeting point at the Greenwood Historical Railroad Museum. That is a great service project. That is this afternoon at 2. Also, tomorrow morning, Greenwood, Cars and Caffeine. That's down in the Hampton Plaza, right there in front of Eggs Up Grill. That starts at, 9 o'clock? Yes, 9 to 12. So there'll be local car enthusiasts for our free Saturday morning cruising. We welcome all kinds of cool cars. All makes, models, and types of cars are welcome. So that is in Hampton Plaza, which is, of course, Eggs Up Grill, Fat Daddy's, Montague's, Dollar General, and go out there and see that. That is always a cool show. So that is another one that is going on. And with that, I am going to say adieu. I did get something. I did get something that somebody had brought by. Is this next week? This is next. No, this isn't till the 28th. Over there in Abbeville, they are having wrestling. The Ultimate Showdown, presented by Carolina Main Event Wrestling at the Abbeville Civic Center on March 28th. Admission is $10, ages 12 and up, and ages 12 to 6 are $5. Kids under 6 are free. Gates open at 6 p.m. Show starts at 7. I understand this is the first time they will have had wrestling in Abbeville, and it's going to be at the Abbeville Civic Center on March 28th. So that is another event that is coming up. So, what do I have to say? I'm going to say adieu. I want to say thank you for tuning in right here on WCRS Radio. We are excited that we have been here today, that we have checked out things, and that I made it another day. I made it. It's Friday the 13th, folks. Be prepared. Things can happen on Friday the 13th, so be safe. Do not walk under any ladders. No. Do not let a black cat walk in front of you. No. any of these superstitions, be prepared. Be prepared. There is always something to be worried about in this world, and that is one of them. So, let's see. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Well, anyways, that's a little bit. I just did see something that says, I want to say this before I go. Yesterday, well, actually on Wednesday afternoon, Karen Petite and Bonner Abercrombie were interviewed at the museum, which was a lovely place to do this, with Louie, her dog, on Celebrate America, about the American Revolution. It's part of a trilogy. It's the first book that she's written in that series. And the next one, I think, is coming out in October, and then the last one of the trilogy will be out the following year, I think April, May, something like that they're planning on. I just want to say this. Congratulations to Karen Petite, Bonner Abercrombie, for being asked to be interviewed about her children's book with Louie, which is a very creative look back on what happened in history during our revolution. It's designed to capture the attention of children, and it has been doing that. Using her dog Louie, Bichon, has been very effective, and Channel 4 picked it up. And if you go to their Facebook page or on their website, I think I'm going to try to post that link. I do have some of the stuff posted on my personal page about it. But what a statement for an author and her illustrator to be picked up by Channel 4, and they told the story, and it's a very nice interview. So congratulations, Karen Petite, Bonner Abercrombie, because they were very impressed with the book, and they were impressed with Louie, who usually does steal the scene, just like dogs have a tendency to do. Actually, I want you to know I'm thinking about Penny, putting her on the air with me. I'm afraid she may steal my thunder every day. So we will bring her on for a few minutes, and then I'm going to say, and now it's time for you to take a break. No, I'm just teasing. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. Penny says, drop the curtain, let's get out of here. So I'm going to drop the curtain. I'm going to cue the music. I'm going to say, have a great weekend. And thank you so much for tuning in right here on WCRS Radio. I'll be back in the morning. That's right, I'll be back in the morning. So make sure you tune in. We'll be here 9:30 to about 12:30, rocking and rolling, playing good music and telling stories, and who tells the biggest lie will get the biggest prize. No, I'm just teasing. Have a great one. First liar doesn't stand a chance. Isn't that the way the story goes? Yes, it does. Have a good one, everybody. That's going to do it for me. Bye-bye.